You would be shocked at how many pictures and resumes land on a casting director or producer's desk every day without a cover letter. Now, though it's inherent in the relationship between the actor and those people that the former is trying to get the attention of the latter, without a cover letter involved, the person receiving the picture and resume, the producer or agent or so on, is not going to know for what specific project that this actor is trying to submit themselves for. And usually a picture and resume without a cover letter ends up in the trash. And that's why it's really important to first have a cover letter to begin with, but then understand how to craft one appropriately and follow that up by a targeted resume to hopefully up your chances of being called in for an audition. Okay? So what I wanted to do today is talk about what a cover letter is, its basic function, and then take it one step beyond and talk to you about how to craft a cover letter that will gear the reader toward looking for the specific information you want them to see when they look over your picture and resume. Alright? So, let's get started. So basically an actor's cover letter explains to the person receiving it why you've sent them your marketing materials. It begins with an introduction to that person. Perhaps you've had a referral to that person. Perhaps you've seen their ad in in backstage or online or something. It explains, this is where I saw the audition information. Then you have a short section where you would explain a little bit about yourself and your work history in relation to the project that you want to be seen for. And then finally, you wrap up by trying to give them pieces of information that sets up a sense of expectation about what they're about to see when they put the cover letter down and start going through your stuff. Now I say stuff because oftentimes you'll want to submit more than just your picture and resume for an audition submission, depending on the project. For instance, if you're auditioning for a film, you might want to include your DVD reel. Perhaps they wanted to see your audio CD as part of some kind of narration work that they're doing on that project. Maybe they wanted to see your comp card. You can always also include one of your actor review sheets from a show you did previously. Now, if you don't know what an actor review sheet is, when you're done watching this video, go back and find the video I produced a while back called The Actor's Review Sheet. And in it I'll explain what it is, how to create one, and why it's so important. Okay? But I think a good cover letter can reveal or imply about 4 or 5 things, and so I wanted to quickly go over those. The first thing that I think a good cover letter can do is it reveals that you've gathered specific information about that person or organization. You've done your homework. So you found out what is that theater's new season, right? So you might mention, well, knowing that you're going to be producing this play and this play and this play, I think I might be well suited to read for that role and this role and that role. The same would go for a producer if you know they're about to launch a new project of some kind, or what a casting office is working on at present. Okay? It just shows that you've done a little homework. It's not a blind submission. Okay? The second thing is that you, if you've done your homework, you can then tell them what specifically you want to be seen for. You can sort of make suggestions. Based on my experience with comedy, I'd like to be seen for this role. Or I know that you have internships available for your summer stock season. Or I'm looking for a spot on this tour that's coming up in the fall. Right? The more specific, the better. Okay? Once again, it shows that you've done your homework. What this then does is it gives them a relevant reason to go through your resume and picture and all your materials that you might provide. By linking your prior experience to their future project, you're creating a sense of expectation that they could actually be able to use you for that future project. The fourth thing it does is, if it's well crafted, and I'm talking now about writing, if the writing is well crafted, it can convey a sense of excitement and personality, intelligence and professionalism by the tone and style of writing in the letter itself. if it's well done, it can tell them a lot about who you are as a person. And then finally, throughout the body of the cover letter, rather, you can plant bits of information to do something which is known as priming the reader. So if you drop bits of information about what they're about to see once they put the cover letter down, you're priming them, you're getting them ready to start looking for that specific information when they look on the back of your resume or put your DVD reel in to watch it or whatever. But priming is really important, and it's an integral part of what makes a really good cover letter. So now I wanted to turn and show you some bits of what a cover letter should actually look like, the layout and so on. Okay, so I wanted to create a scenario by which I could show you the actual pieces of material that you would be submitting for a hypothetical audition. In this case, let's go with the idea that I want to get seen by a Shakespeare theater company for their season audition, okay, for all the plays they're going to be producing in the upcoming year. So the first thing, of course, they would see would be the actual cover letter. Now you'll notice I've put my headshot in the upper right-hand corner here. Why did I do that? Because the cardinal rule of actor marketing is absolutely nothing leaves your office without your picture attached to it somewhere. They have to start linking that face with this name every time they get something, and I have to help them do that so that they'll always know that that is Sean Pratt and not somebody else. In general, it's good to have a cover letter that's just one page long. Sometimes you can have a two-page cover letter if you feel it's appropriate, but I would recommend trying to keep it on one page. The first paragraph introduces you to them, says, this is where I saw the audition information. And then immediately afterwards, you can start talking about the project. In this case, I would show them that I've done my homework by saying, I can see from your season you're producing X, Y, and Z plays, and based on that, my experience, say, with comedy or sword fighting or whatever, I think these roles might be a good fit for me to be seen for or audition for in your upcoming round of auditions. The middle paragraph, I would then say something to the effect of, as you can see from my resume, I have extensive classical theater experience, particularly in performing Shakespeare. The last paragraph, I would mention the fact that I've not only given them my picture and resume, but I've included an actor review sheet from a production that I recently did as Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing, and then thank them for their time. So what I've done here is I've done my introduction, I've showed them I've done some homework on their company, I'm priming them by giving them tidbits of information to look for, and then I'm offering this new piece of, basically, of advertising with the actor review sheet that they should look at to show them that I'm a good actor and they should, call me in for the audition, and then thanking them for their time. The next thing, of course, they're going to see would be the headshot. So let's say I picked this headshot because I think it would be appropriate for the roles I want to be seen for as opposed to a different kind of headshot. So I picked this one in relation to, once again, the projects that they are casting for that season. So then when they turn it over, I've done a couple of things back here that are important. The first thing that I've done is I mentioned the role of Benedict in the letter. Well, there I am. There's a photograph of me as Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. And then I've done something, what I think is the most important thing, which is I have gone through and using a red highlight, I've highlighted all the Shakespeare plays that I have been involved in that I wanted them to see. Right? I've picked the ones where I had the strongest roles, and I've highlighted those in red. Here, the off-Broadway experience, the regional experience, and so on. And then I went through my education to show them that I have a BFA in acting, or I was a company member at the Pearl Theatre, and that I went to the British Drama Academy in London for a while. All right? So by priming them in the letter, they're already looking for this information, and there it is presented to them very easily for them to see, just using the color red. Okay? Then finally, as one more piece of information, I include a bit of advertising. And so here I've included an actor's review sheet. Now this is one I made up for the video on Actors Review Sheets. It's actually just a fictitious one. I just put it together to show you what it would look like. I have played the role of Benedict, but I just wanted to create this to show you what a review sheet could look like. Here we have, say, the poster, the image from the show, a picture of me as Benedict, the icon of the theater, and then various quotes from reviews that the show had, and of course if I got mentioned, I've highlighted it in yellow, and then I have a thing here from the director talking about my work. Okay? So here I've got what they call third-party endorsement. It's not enough for me to say I've got a lot of training and I think I'd be a good fit for your company, but when you have newspaper reviews that say you know I did a good job here, and even the director, that lends a lot of credibility to my information, and hopefully will entice them to call me in for the audition. So there you have it, the actor's cover letter. Before I leave, I wanted to share one more bit of information with you, and that is, of course, that today more and more submissions are being made through email. They don't want to be inundated with tons and tons of mail for a project. Well, that's fine. The same concept that we've talked about can be easily translated over to an email. The cover letter itself is the body of the email. You would attach your photograph and your resume as two separate files. And then if you wanted to include something like an actor's review sheet, that would be a third file as an attachment. It's just really that simple. The thing to keep in mind, though, is the total of bits of information, when you have those three files put into your email, they should not total more than about 5 megabytes. Oftentimes an email service will kick back an email that goes over 5 megabytes because the photograph is too large or there's just too much information. So be sure that if you do make a submission via the internet, that you reduce the size, or you compress the size of your photograph so that it'll be easily delivered by email. But once again, put the cover letter version of what you would have written as a piece of paper in the body of the email itself. Okay? Break a leg at your next audition.